welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Micaiah Young, and just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to jump back on here today and just being a listener. I know I've heard a lot of really great and positive feedback from just tuning in and listening, and we've had some great guests, and we're going to have some exciting guests, including the one today, and with Pastor Josh Montgomery, and so honored to have him and his ministry, and just been following him for a while now. He's been doing ministry since, and I'm sure he'll get into it with his testimony, but since he was a lot younger, and he's just been a huge encouragement to me. So I just wanted to share him with you guys, and I know he'll be an encouragement to you today. So if you wouldn't mind, Brother Josh, would you mind sharing your testimony and then getting into where God's led you today, if you don't mind?
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you so much, brother, for the opportunity to be on your podcast. I'm a podcast junkie. So when I saw you had Chris Simpson a few months ago, and I clicked on it anyway and watched. And so, sorry, got you right there. Were you drinking water?
he'll love that when he sees this. I'll have to send it to him.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get it to him. I promise you. So, my name's Josh Montgomery. I pastor the Safe Harbor Baptist Church in Salisbury, North Carolina. We're about 40 miles north of Charlotte, 40 miles south of Winston-Salem, right between them, off 85. And God saved me when I was 5 years old. My dad's a preacher, and he actually pastors about 30 minutes south of me in Concord, North Carolina, and was born in the Atlanta area. Go Braves and go Dogs. I still hold to my Atlanta roots. And then when I was about 2 years old, my dad went with the Rock of Ages prison ministry out of Cleveland, Tennessee. I don't know if you're familiar with that ministry or not.
Yes, sir.
But that's where me and Chris Simpson are connected, because his dad was a Rock of Ages about the same time my dad was. And so Chris is a lot older than me. But I'm gonna get my jabs in where I can.
Older, you know.
Yeah, but my dad was a printer by trade, and so for 12 years, my dad ran the publishing department for Rock of Ages, and then traveled and preached in the prisons and done the work of an evangelist for 12 years, and God really used him. So, in that regard, when I was 10 years old, God began to work in my heart. As of course I say, when I was 5, God began to work in my heart about preaching. Some guys, talk about running from the call to preach. I didn't. I wanted to preach. Preachers were my heroes. Preachers are still my heroes. It was just in my heart. And so I actually came to my dad when I was 9 and mentioned to him about, I think God's called me to preach. And my dad, in a lot of wisdom, said, look, let's take 1 year and let's pray about this. And I think that was good wisdom. And it was literally 1 year to the week at youth camp. Chris Simpson was there. Chris Hewitt was in that youth camp as well, down in South Georgia. And God confronted my heart. I was 10 years old, and I preached my first sermon September the 29th, and I turned 11 the next day on the 30th. And so I've been preaching for this coming August to be 24 years. I'm 34 years old now. So when I was 14, God led my dad to leave Rock of Ages. No issues, no troubles there, just a different season of ministry. In fact, my dad's still on the board of directors of Rock of Ages and has a close relationship. But he led him to the New Grace Baptist Church in Concord to be their pastor. He just celebrated 20 years there. So my childhood years, I grew up in Tennessee. Then my teen years, I was in North Carolina. And that's where I met my wife. I have my wife, Grace. We met through a youth meeting. And we got married in September of 2012, and we have 3 children. My oldest boy is Daxton Mays, after Mays Jackson. He's 12, and then my middle boy is Seitler, and he'll be 10 in April. We named him after Dr. Seitler. Then we have my little girl. We was going to name her Joyce Myers to kind of stick with the preacher thing, but we decided not to do that. So her name is Judah. Man. And so God's blessed our family. But we got married in September of 12, and I had been helping a pastor in Salisbury, Brother Rick Perry. He had been diagnosed with cancer in March of 12, and I'd been kind of filling in if he, when he had chemo, it'd kind of knock him out of service or two, physically just devastating. And in November of 12, me and my wife been married since September. He called me one Saturday night. I was preaching in Alabama, and I wanted to go into evangelism. That was my heart. I was 21. I felt like that's what I wanted to do. And he said, would you pray about coming and being my assistant, my supply pastor? And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, That way, if I'm sick or can't preach, I don't have to worry about somebody. I've already got you in place. I said, well, I'll pray about it. And I prayed about it. And the week before Thanksgiving, on that next Sunday, I called him and said, Preacher, I've got an appointment today to preach, but I'll come Wednesday night and start helping you. I preached on Wednesday night for him. He died on Thursday. It was kind of like the last thing. You've heard about people kind of putting things together before they go to heaven. It's kind of the last thing. So here I am, 21, just got married, and week before Thanksgiving, I've got a church. So I counseled with some men, my dad, and some other men, and they said, look, get them through the holidays. And so actually, the last Sunday of January, I'll celebrate 13 years as pastor here at the Safe Harbor Baptist Church. And so now, and I also, God's blessed me, I get to do a little bit of evangelism, preaching about, I don't want to, 20, 25 different churches a year, not full weeks, but different opportunities. So God's let me have both worlds, and I'm grateful for that.
Amen, man. I love that. I love that a lot. So I have some questions. It wasn't really on our topic that we were planning on talking about, but you're a big guy on preaching about, just the ins and outs of preaching. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe there's a preacher listening on here today. Would you have any advice or thoughts? I think if I heard right, you're an advocate of like 30-minute preaching. If I heard that right,
I have built my reputation on being a 30-minute preacher. So I guess the why is that. So we're going to talk about investing. I think it's part of what we invest in other men. One of the men who has greatly invested in my life is a man named Brother Davy Shelton. Brother Davy pastors up in the mountains of North Carolina. He is a mountain preacher with content, good touch of God, just as a great preacher. So he was really the first preacher I ever heard. He would preach, and if it took him 20 minutes to deliver his burden, he was done. If it took him 40 minutes, he was done. And so I asked him one day, he said, I don't want to preach 1 second longer than what the Lord wants me to go. And so several years ago, I was having trouble with chasing rabbits a lot. And so I put myself on a discipline. I put a timer up on my pulpit, and I discipline myself to preach about 30 minutes. Now, I give myself a little leeway, but it helps me to stay focused, helps me to stay content, or stay on my content that I have. And it doesn't, and I'll tell you this too, I preach in a lot of jubilees and camp meetings where you got a time limit. That helps me a lot too, because I'm already in that vein. So I get made fun of for that, but my people like getting out early on Sundays too. So my philosophy is, if I don't strike gold in 30 minutes, I quit boring.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So I'm the same way. I'm the shortest preacher here at our church, and I'm a huge advocate for it. Just because, and I'm not saying our pastors are the people that here that do that, but I'm just saying, like, I can get my point across in that certain time frame. Right. And I'm just saying, if I can get the point across, why would I just keep adding a ton of information on it? Right. Whenever I got my burden across and get it done with. So that's why I was curious.
Yeah. Dr. Seitler said if it's over 35 minutes, it's probably a series, not a sermon.
Well, that's not what I thought. I like it.
Yeah, they can argue with Dr. Seitler on that one. Of course, he would preach over 35, 40 minutes, but this is Dr. Seitler too. So, I mean, who's going to argue with that? But that's just a personal thing of mine, and it helps me stay focused on what I'm doing. And so that's my preference.
I like it. I like it a lot. So you started a conference called the Timothy Conference. Yes, I think that's what you call it. You can clarify
You're right.
Anything that I get wrong. But you started that with the heart of investing, I guess, into the next generation, if you call it that. Why I've seen a bunch of leadership conferences. I've seen conferences of every type out there. Why, out of all the conferences, is your heart there? Like, why did your heart wrap around investing into the next generation?
Well, as I was giving him my testimony, God called me to preach when I was 10. And I have never forgotten. Who lets a 10-year-old preach? Think about that. Let's just think about that for a minute. Not many men, but I was so blessed to have men that gave me opportunities. I answered my call to preach in August. I preached at least 5 or 6 times for the end of the year at 10 years old. I preached my first revival probably when I was 11 or 12, along with my dad every night. And so a lot of men were good to me. And there were, I am blessed. My dad put me around a lot of good men, put me in good meetings around. That's how I met Brother Davy Shelton, who's been one of the biggest influences in my life. And so they poured into me. They were good to me. So
Mm.
I preached through my teens. I preached through my 20s. And now I'm, coming in on my mid 30s preaching through. And I've never forgotten those men who uh, gave me Bibles, bought me suits, gave me books, gave me opportunities, gave me advice. And I was thinking one day, and I'm not going to preach, but there's a verse, 2 Timothy 2:2. Everybody knows this. The things which thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who
Mm.
shall be able to teach others also. And so I've been given a lot. We know that principle in the New Testament: to whom much is given, much is required. And
Yes, sir.
so I often tell my church, I'm not a good preacher, but I know all of them. And so I've always tried to bring in good preachers. And I was talking to Brother Reese Key. He pastors down in South Georgia, a good friend of mine. And we were talking about, a lot of guys don't know a lot of these older preachers. A lot of guys our age, they feel like they're in a bubble, and with the social media, and thank God for good social media, but they feel like with celebrity montage preachers, they're kind of, stuck. And I said, I know a lot of great older preachers that would love to invest. And I'll tell you this, there is a crowd that wants to invest in preachers, but they really want to steal them, take away their Bible, take away their shout, their conviction, and
Mm.
take them a different direction. So I thought, let's be proactive. David served his generation. So in 2021, I sought counsel with several men about doing this, and we had our first Timothy conference. And I bring in older seasoned men. Not all of them are real old. I picked on Chris Simpson, but I brought in Chris Simpson one year. I said, look, I want you to talk about struggles of a young preacher. Tremendous, because he's been there.
Mm.
And so the
Mm.
first year we had 65 come. This last year was our fifth year. We had 130 preachers come through in the 2 days. So God
Praise the
has
Lord.
blessed it. And it would not be possible without the folks at Safe Harbor Baptist Church. We do not have a large church here, but they labor, they work, they sacrifice, they give, they cook. Um, they caught the burden of my heart. It's our highlight of the year. And so I'm very thankful for them.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I genuinely believe that's just such an amazing desire and burden to share with the next generation. Just investing in them and taking the time to do that as well, because we need the next generation to step up and to pick up the mantle and to go forward. Not only, and this is not even just about a preaching podcast episode. This
Right.
is about being a Christian,
Yes,
about
sir.
passing this down to the next generation, whether it's your kids or just anybody around you that's younger that you can invest into. I heard someone say one time that you should have a Paul, someone who's mentoring you. You should have I think there was somebody, I can't remember what the name was, but it's someone around your same age where you're sharpening each other.
Yeah,
And then you should
Barnabas,
have a
Silas. Yeah.
Timothy. Yes, sir. And you should have a Timothy that you're investing into
Yes,
at
sir.
all times. And we try to make it where it's a solo Christianity where I'm just going to do what I need to do, and I'll show up to church, but I'm not really being invested into. I'm not investing into others, and then we just go through our whole life like that. When, like you said, you read the verse. If you've been taught something, we should commit that to faithful people
Yes,
and
sir.
teach them also, and then just allow that to be a progression. So, if there's somebody watching this today, what should their heart be if they're listening to this, that they're like, man, I've never even thought about investing into somebody else. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Right.
Should I be doing that? Would you have any advice to anybody here watching this that should say, even if it's just one person,
Yeah.
but taking someone, or it's their kids, or it's, what should their heart be behind investing into the next generation as they're coming up?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is somebody said, well, I can't invest in nobody because I'm not everything I should be. Hey, newsflash, none of us are.
Right.
Okay. We are all being conformed to the image of his son. Philippians 2, Ephesians 2, Romans 8, Philippians 1. He's still working on all of us.
Yes, sir.
But some people, let's take preachers we'll pick up preachers and say, let's just take Christians. Over there in Titus, is it Titus 2, the elder ladies are to teach the younger ladies. And I've heard everything that's preached on, but one of the things is just being a Christian. Hey, we've walked through some things before.
Mm.
Here's how you do things. Here's how you develop a prayer life. Here's how you develop a devotional time. It's just spending time. You know, I'm getting ready to do some marriage counseling with a couple getting married in our church soon, and I was reaching out to some guys, and one guy sent me a quote that I've seen a bunch, but one of the ways you spell love is Time, time. And
Mm.
what I have found is Christian fellowship and spending time with somebody does a whole lot more than you realize. Um, for instance, I guess back to the preacher thing. That's where my heart's at. Plumbers will train under plumbers. An apprentice will train under an apprentice. Electricians are electricians. Well, preachers ought to learn from preachers. And I'm not being smart, but and thank God for good Bible colleges, good homiletics class. But you will never substitute what you'll learn from a man in the trenches, laboring
Mm.
beside him in the ministry. And not everybody has that opportunity to be full time, but that's why I encourage young preachers. And for anybody watching this podcast, when we have young preachers come to Timothy conference, I beg their pastors to come with them
Mm.
because they're going to be with me 2 days. They're going to be with these guys we have preached for 2 days. But that pastor is who God's put them under to invest in. And I would say this to a pastor: if you've got preachers in your church, invest in them. I sat down with my young preachers that I've had, and I taught them how to outline, how to preach through a text, what to avoid as far as when you're in another man's pulpit, how to handle yourself. And one of them, especially, he's in missions now, and God's blessed him and used him, not because of me, but somebody poured something to me, and I just poured him. The Dead Sea is dead because it never lets out. Now, I know we've heard
Amen.
that before, but if all we do is take in and we don't give out, we're not doing anything good. I preach a sermon about Elijah and Elisha, and it's called "Old Preachers Never Die." The reason Elijah's ministry never died is because every time Elisha opened up his mouth to preach, Elijah came out. They
Mm.
said, "The spirit of Elijah doth rest upon him." And so, and I have found this too. Yeah, there are some. Let's just be honest. There are stupid young preachers. I mean, they're out there, and then there are grouchy old men that are preachers. There's both
Right.
sides. But here's what I have found: there are some older preachers out there that can't go like they used to, can't run the roads like they used to, but they want
Mm.
to be a blessing and encouragement to a young preacher. If it's through a phone call, a text, with this modern technology, Zoom or whatever, now you can talk to somebody. They want to do that, and that's just across the board of just being a blessing and not holding everything to yourself.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I think that just applies to what I was thinking of when you were saying all of this was, we're gonna stand before. I heard a preacher say this one time: we're not going to stand the moment we die in front of God and be judged for our life. And he said the reason why that is because your life continues to make an impact after you have died.
That's exactly right.
And you're talking about preachers who have passed away, the impact that they're making on your life right now, and they're going to be rewarded for that. And the danger that I see is us as Christians. I would hate to stand before God one day and say your life made no difference after
Yeah,
you were gone. You didn't pass along anything, or you lived your life about the next activity, the fun things. And there's nothing wrong with that, investing
sure.
and spending time with your family, but you left no spiritual impact that was passed forward. And you're either making an impact in a bad way where it continues to progress, or a spiritual way. And the only way to pass that on to people is what you're saying. It's investing into people. It's putting the time. And also what you said is you don't have to have everything figured out. I've known people that you've just spent time with people. You don't have everything figured out, but they appreciate and say, man, that was such a wonderful time.
Yeah,
And in your mind, you're like, man, I don't feel like I really gave
I didn't
much or
say
anything.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't feel like I really said anything, but people just appreciate. I mean, we live in a lonely generation. We live
yes,
in a
sir.
crazy generation. People just appreciate the fact that you would even invite them over and just to begin with,
Right.
much less talk about anything. And so I definitely think that we overthink this avenue of just investing into people. And I just want to say I appreciate so much what you do when it comes to investing into this next generation. And I hope that your impact continues to grow. I hope it goes from 130 preachers to 200 and it
Uh,
just continues to progress and make a difference, because that's just an amazing thing to be doing that.
well, and I'll tell you
Um,
how I mean, I'll tell you how funny it works too. Um, I had I called a preacher the other day, an older preacher. I said, "Hey, I need some advice." And so I got some advice from him. And like 20 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was a younger preacher calling me. He said, "Hey, I need some advice." And I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. 5 minutes ago, I was a young preacher needing advice. And now I got a young preacher. And I thought, you know what? We are always supposed to be learning
Mm.
and gaining and getting, because nobody has it all. Richard told me,
Yeah.
said, "You see that guy, you think he has it all together and he's got it all figured out." He said, "I'm gonna let you in on something. He don't." He
Mm.
said, "Everybody's still learning," and
Mm.
that's so vitally important. And the Timothy Conference, if you'll allow me to give this little plug, it's August 7th
Absolutely.
and 8th this year here in Salisbury, North Carolina. It'll be in the next couple of months. We'll be putting some things on social media. We do charge a $20 registration fee. That just helps us take care of the 2 meals that we feed you. But we have Gullion's Christian Bookstore. That's a big thing here in North Carolina. They come set
Mm.
up. We got books. I've had Bible rebinders come over the years. I mean, it's a big deal, and we have a big preachers choir we put together. Preachers by themselves can't sing, but you put about 75 up there together, and it sounds pretty cool.
I
So,
love it. Well,
and
thank you for plugging that, and I'll need to put your information in the description wherever this is
that'll
going
be
to be,
fine. Yes,
because
sir.
I want people to be a part of this, especially if they're in that area. I know a lot of people in Georgia and North Carolina, and I want to get people plugged into
Yeah.
what you're doing, because
And
this
I'll
is
say
such an
this
important
too,
thing.
brother. If people go on Sermon Audio and will search our church name, Safe Harbor Baptist Church, they will find all 5 years of archives from the sessions and preaching from the Timothy Conference. A couple of years are on YouTube, but Sermon Audio has all 5 years, all the teaching and everything. They can kind of go and see what it's about before they even come.
I love Sermon Audio. That's like one of my favorite
Oh yeah,
apps to
yeah,
use.
yeah. I wear it out. I got several channels that I keep going. So.
Well, what are some of your favorite preachers to listen to on there? Like, what if you had to recommend, if someone's listening, maybe some favorite preachers that you enjoy listening, or there could be some specific sermons that you enjoy listening
Um,
to that you would want somebody else to listen to.
if you're not familiar with the preaching of Brother Tim Fuller,
Mm.
you need to introduce yourself. I go through seasons of who I listen to, depending on where I'm at. Um, I love Brian McBride. He preaches for me every year. I don't know if you know Brother McBride. He's got a lot of sermon audio. Uh, Tim Fuller's got a sermon on there. The dangerous ox must die.
Mm.
Uh, that's a tremendous sermon. He preached that at our church. He's preached at several other places. I love listening. I love listening to Brother Floor. And then I like listening to James Knox. He's got some stuff there
Mm.
on YouTube and stuff. I like men that challenge me and make me think. And then I like listening to men just peel the paint off the walls and preach to me too. I don't want to get caught on just one style, but I'm on a Tim Fuller. Brother Fuller's a friend of mine. He's been with me a couple of times, and I've been privileged to be at his church, and I enjoy his preaching. So if you don't know who Brother Tim Fuller is, you need to look him up here and preach. I'm sure you do.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's why I asked you. I trusted your list of preachers, because you're an expositor. You're not someone who it's just random like craziness out there. I know you're someone who's like, these guys preach the Bible,
Oh yeah,
and these are great people. That's why I asked you, because I
yeah.
trusted your list
You're going to
of
be
people.
you're going to be hard pressed to beat men like Brother Fuller, Brother McBride. I'll tell you another man. He just retired from pastoring. He's a great expositor. Brother Tony Finney.
Mm.
He is a great expositor. He come up under graduated from Dr. Seitler's Bible College. Man, he's a great preacher,
Hmm.
and got a lot of good got a lot of good material. You can look him up on YouTube and stuff like that. I love Brother Finney. He's a great preacher. If you want to hear what a mountain preacher sounds like with content, look up Brother Davy Shelton. In fact, at Timothy Conference this year on Friday night we'll have Brother Davy will preach. He's helped me every year in this, and Brother Dwayne Moore. I don't know if you know Brother Dwayne or
I love
not.
doing more. Yes, sir.
He's a blessing. And then on Saturday morning, we have sessions. So Brother Stacy Pierce will be with us. A lot of people know Brother Stacy songs. I'm not going to hell. My Lord's taking good care of me. He'll be with us. And then let's see who else. So I got Brother Charles Mustian. He's a local pastor, but he's been in the ministry for many years. He'll be with us. Brother Reese Key will be with us. And then we done something last year where one of the sessions We're not going liberal, but I stood my pulpit back. I put chairs across the front, and I set a microphone up in the middle of the aisle, and we let guys come up and just ask questions, and
Hmm.
let them kind of pick the brains of the men that we had there.
That's awesome that you brought that up. That was literally the last question I was thinking of. Was this generation, I feel, has lost the art of asking questions.
Yes.
It's a you're surrounded by great men of God or people in your church that's experienced so much, but we've lost the art of asking people questions. It's
Right.
just we're just there. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So I love Q&As. I love them,
Me too.
and I was trying to find my flyer because I felt like I was missing a preacher, but it'll be all right if I can't remember. Anyway, I love Q&As. And a few years ago in Sunday school, and this could be another topic. I don't want to get off, but I felt like my Sunday school was getting lethargic. And so I brought all my adults. We have a small church. I brought my adults and teens to the auditorium. I said, all right, look, who has a Bible question? And I started answering Bible questions. That was 5-6 years ago. I wish I'd have kept a log on all those Bible questions we've done. I don't always know the answer, but I always try to find an answer by the next week. And so I found out that a lot of times young preachers have questions about ministry, Bible questions. Really
Mm.
not as much Bible questions in the Timothy conference, it's more like practical. Like we've had guys, one of the questions this past year was asked, I work 50 hours a week. I have a wife and 2 children. I don't feel like I give enough time to study. And Brother Reese Key gave an answer. He said, son, God knows your schedule. God knows your heart. God knows what you're trying to do. You do what you can, but God understands where you're at. He said, we're a whole
Mm.
lot harder on ourselves than what the Lord is, because the Lord knows you've got responsibility to your family. So you're not neglecting the word. He said, you have a desire. Just stuff like that, that we
Mm.
have. We've had guys ask questions about, when you just take that step full time in ministry. Brother Davey Shelton, one year we done a session on how to candidate at our church, questions to ask, things you need to
Mm.
know, how to make a resume. Some churches want a resume, how to put one together. So we try to do a lot of practical things on that Saturday morning, and then Friday night is just preaching, and then we close with preaching in the middle of that. We give away books, give away Bibles. It's just been a sweet time. It's the highlight of my year to have those guys come, and God's been mighty gracious to us in that.
Amen. Amen. I love that. So if you're watching this today, then you need to find someone to invest in you,
Yes.
and you need to whatever that is, whether you're a daughter looking, say, I'm going to be a mother one day, find the mother that you want to be, and you get them to invest into you. You have people that are sharpening you, that you're
Yep.
going after the same direction. And then you find someone, just like he was saying today, you find someone that you can invest into, you spend time with. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you
Right.
say, I'm spiritual and I want to help them become spiritual, and let's just spend time enjoying each other's company and
Yeah.
investing into each other.
And don't be upset if they don't want help.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
you can't
sir.
help somebody that don't want help. So if they don't want it, say, all right, that obviously wasn't the one the Lord asked me for. And I like what you said there. Find the kind of mother you want to be, young ladies. Hey, preacher, find the kind of preacher you want to be, and listen to that man and try to, I don't want to say copy him, but take the good qualities and go on with them. And I'd say this too: find somebody to invest in, and then somebody that's invested in you. It's always good to send them a text and tell them thank you, and tell them,
Mm.
hey, you've been a blessing to me, because you never know, that might encourage them.
Mm. Man, thank you for saying that. I've actually been thinking about that, and if I preach tonight, that's what I'm going to talk about too. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that. Well, is there anything that we, like, lastly, as we wrap up, it doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be related to anything we said, but has there been anything that on your heart or anything you want to say to our listeners about? It could be about anything, but just kind of as we wrap up, maybe a thought about this or about something else, just anything at all.
I would say to my generation and to your listeners that might be even older than me, whatever, in that regard, any preachers, just stay faithful, man. Don't I know it, especially in these winter months, and I'm not sure when this will air. We're recording January today. I know that's a discouraging time in a lot of guys' ministries, but just keep on going. I need to do better at it, but try to reach out to preachers and reach out to friends and encourage them. That's investing. A lot of people live their life with their hand out. They want somebody to give to them. But instead of reaching out with your hand like that, why don't you reach out with your hand like that and be a blessing and encourager to somebody? And I promise you this, you will be encouraged by being an encouragement. And I have found that to be true. And so one more time, I know you say you're going to put in Timothy Conference August 7th and 8th, 2026, Safe Harbor Baptist Church, Salisbury, North Carolina. You can look us up on Facebook, Safe Harbor Baptist Church, Salisbury. Me and my wife have a Facebook page, Josh Grace Montgomery. And then we're on Sermon Audio, and we can put some of that information out there. And I really appreciate the opportunity, brother, to come on and talk with you today. We've never talked till right now, and but I appreciate the kindred spirit that we have there.
I absolutely, man. I feel real comfortable just in conversation with you, and it's cool how that's just a God thing.
Yes, sir.
That's you two people who've gotten saved, and it's just automatically the hearts are knitted together. It's just things that God does like that.
Yes, sir.
So it's just awesome.
So who's your go-to on Sermon Audio before you go? You asked mine. Who's yours?
Oh man, you listed some of mine. You listed Tim Fuller, James Knox, Chris Simpson. I downloaded some of your sermons. I've not listened to it yet, but I just downloaded it like yesterday or the day before. I've listened to Kenny Baldwin on there before. Oh, yeah. He's a great expositor. I'm trying to think of other people.
I'm on a Johnny Pope kick right now.
Oh, really?
I love to hear Johnny Pope. Now, he's a different kind of expositor, but man, I love to listen to him. I feel smart when he gets done preaching. And so that's kind of the kick I'm on right now too. And I've met Brother Pope, but he doesn't know me. But I've been listening to him a lot lately too.
I would like to get him on one day. I know he's only in Houston, only about 4 hours from us. So I've always wanted to I think we were talking about getting him back up here again and then just having him a part. So I think that would be really cool too. But we need to get together and just talk about preachers and stuff like that.
Like talk about preachers in a good way, you know.
Not gossiping.
Yeah, not in a bad way.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I talked to Dale Vance after our podcast last time, and he said we should do a podcast on expository preaching.
Yeah,
and so I think it would be cool if we could have maybe Brother Chris, you, Brother Dale Vance on it, and then maybe have everybody on at the same time and talk about it.
Oh, that would be fun. Man, I met Brother Dale Vance when I was probably 15 and preached. He moderated his dad's camp meeting in West Virginia, and I got to preach like 10 minutes one night. I'll never forget that. So, love Brother Dale.
That was awesome. Man, well, we could talk forever.
Man, I know we got time restraints. I've really enjoyed it.
I love talking about this stuff, but thank you for taking the time to jump on. It really means a lot to me. And if you are listening to this, please share this with somebody. Comment down below, maybe some thoughts that you have that maybe we didn't mention, or a preacher that you like, and just whatever. But we would love to have you be a part and to share this with other people. And if you're around his area, please attend the conference. We would love for you to be a part of that. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for taking the time to listen in, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.